Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bibliovert channel. My name is Alli, and today I am setting up my 2022 bullet journal. This is a B5 journal from Archer and Olive, and I am burning my August Alchemy Azrael candle while I work today. I will say I had an extremely difficult time getting an Archer and Olive journal for this year because they have not restocked their journals in a long time. I do love using Archer and Olive notebooks, but so far I haven't seen any information on when they plan to restock. Lucky for me, my past self had a moment of indulgence and bought a journal way back in June of 2021 with no plans for what to do with it, so I was able to pull this one out of my supply cart and use it for this year. Something that I'm doing this year is taking the pressure off of myself to be artistically perfect. I am going to talk a lot about my goals for myself this year, and one of them is to create cohesive bodies of work. I like to look at artistic things I create on individual levels, like individual pictures or spreads, but when I put things together, I see where there are inconsistencies and how my stuff would look even better with the cohesion across the board beyond something like using the same preset. So what I did before opening this journal at all was essentially create a small brand kit. I pasted it in the back as a point of reference and assembled and combed through my supplies to only use materials that fit within that branding decision. I hope that this will help me narrow my thinking to a designated design and free me from constantly trying to think outside of the box. This goal does include not stressing about the mistakes I make and taking the pressure off of myself to be perfect. At the beginning of my journal, it was easier to design simple images on Canva and print them than it was to stress about drawing them myself. I have very unsteady hands, and that leads to a lot of mistakes, and the relief that I felt about just being able to tape in these designs and be proud of them was a big deal for me. So I'm here to tell you, if you're not a drawer, a painter, you're not a handwriting guru, you can still bullet journal. It's not cheating to design something and print it out and paste it in. There are no rules to what you can create or how you should create it. If printing digital designs is your medium, all the more power to you. And I'm going to give myself that same grace this year. I started with a Throne of Glass series quote that is essentially my mantra for 2022. It's helping me remember how incredibly grateful I am for where my life has grown over the last 2 years and what that growth is enabling me to accomplish this year. After pasting that in, I moved on to a grid spacing page, which is a new spread for me that I've never done before, but I ended up referencing it a lot as I set up my months, so I definitely think this was worth the ad. have been daydreaming a lot lately of what it would be like to have a home with a beautiful built-in library with lots of windows and plants, and that's why I decided that I wanted more of a built-in look for my bookshelf spread this year. I did get a little nervous once I started coloring it in, just because of the way Tombow markers layer the more you color over them, but in the end I ended up satisfied with the way it turned out, and weeks later, I did notice that I had a missing strip on the color, so I did go in and fill that in. My next spread was something I referenced so much last year, so I knew that I had to do it again. The little calendars that I used in last year's book release spread were super cute, but they were so painstakingly time-consuming to make, and I knew I did not want to do that again. So I decided to just do a quick list, and it absolutely gets the job done. I have my books that are coming out each month, and I can reference it as I go. page next to it is just a list of our podcast episodes that we're doing this year, because last year I spent a ton of time creating the pictures and then cutting them out and pasting them into those spreads, and it was again time consuming, and I want to take away that additional step this year. If you have any suggestions on books you'd like us to cover on the podcast this year, or authors you may be interested in hearing us interview, let us know in the comments below, because we are always open to new ideas. In 2021, I got a new job that requires me to travel to a few different states, and it has freed up my time more than teaching did to enable me to travel more for fun as well. I had so many great trips in 2021 that were the highlights of my year, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of the trips that I take in 2022, which is where this very simple travel log comes in. This social media growth tracker was 100% inspired by Katie Colson. I absolutely cried tears of laughter during her 2021 Bujo flip through video, and man, did I enjoy it. So if you're looking for a great account to follow, go check Katie out. The Instagram algorithm has been very unkind to a lot of people unless you're cranking out like 15 reels a week. So seeing growth on Instagram has been a bit of a journey for us, but we're hoping for big things in 2022. So I'm trying to think positively and track that here in this journal. If Instagram hasn't been working for you either, just know that you're not alone and there are a lot of content creators out there in the same boat. But thanks to you guys, we saw incredible growth on YouTube at the end of the year, and we're so excited that this corner of the internet is continuing to grow, and we can't wait to see where it will go in 2022. I am notorious for not finishing my journals because I often get bored with doing what might be considered the same thing over and over again. Last year was no different because I used my journal as a record for my reading, and after 7 to 8 months of this, I was out of ideas for how to make the pages unique for each book, and I was tired of searching for images and cutting them out, which landed me in a creative burnout. So for that reason, I've decided to try a more traditional bullet journaling route this year with weekly spreads and an emphasis on tracking my reading, my traveling, and other various hobbies because that's another one of my 2022 goals. I'm hoping that this will work better for me this year because I can pre-create the layouts for the whole journal when I have creative bursts of energy versus last year where I had to wait each month to know what books I was reading within that month. I'm also doing my best to more consciously choose to use my journal in my day-to-day activities like jotting down ideas or to-do lists, filling out my calendar, writing short book reviews, etc. Does this guarantee that I will complete this journal? No. But am I extremely busy this year? And that makes me hopeful that I'll be more conscious of focusing on my goals and requiring me to stay organized? Yes. Hopefully, a completed journal will be a reward of that organization. So that's what I'll be working on, making my month and weekly spreads with smaller trackers built in throughout to help me stay on top of my hobbies. It is never too late to try something new, so if you're thinking of trying out bullet journaling this year, just know that there are plenty of ways to make it yours that don't involve years of art school to make it beautiful. If you like what you see, let us know. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.